now I'm going to shift to like the astrologer part of my soulful wealth work. So like,
yeah, she got out.
Yeah. Well, I'll get back to it.
So where are we now? Like, where are we now? Are we in a...
No, everything's going to be super crazy until 2026. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Okay, I love it. All right, there we go. We can work with that. I like the truth.
Yeah. Under all is the land, the real estate. Courtney and friends about to show you how to generate wealth. Get educated, do for yourself. Add a couple notches to your belt. Under all is the land. Under all is the land. The real under all is the land. Under all is the land. The real estate. Coming to you live from ACME Real Estate in Los Angeles, California.
Welcome to Under All is the Land. I am your host, Courtney Poulos, here with my rock star co-stars, the beautiful Silke Fernald.
Hello.
And the extraordinarily talented Dominique Madden. We are in season 4, episode 2. Still feeling the newness of the season. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like a new energy in here. You notice that?
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
I feel it too. I feel it for sure. And I'm excited about today's guest, who is going to be talking about soulful wealth, which I think combines two of our core values. One is getting wealthy while maintaining our soul, right? That's what we want to do. Do you want to be wealthy?
Yes.
Yes. Do you?
Yeah, and maintain my soul?
Yeah.
Totally.
I know, right?
Seems like the hardest thing to do when people
It
become
actually,
wealthy.
it really does. But also, we need money because we would like to continue going to this place Neek and I found. Well, really, Neek found. Tell them about it.
Oh my God. Okay, it is epic. And if you feel like your face just needs something or some rejuvenation, something, Face Gym. Face Gym, West Hollywood.
Tell me more.
It's deep tissue facial massage. I know, which could be stupid, but it's not. It's like they have tools and stuff, but get deeply into like
The
tension.
jawbone?
Jaw, yeah,
Yes,
that was
that's where
huge
people
for me.
hold their tension.
Yes. And also like moisturizing, like we did this cryo something. It wasn't cryo, like it didn't freeze, but it was like a pen they do, but it injects moisture into your face.
Yeah.
Wow.
She said it was like drinking your like face drinking like 10 cups of water.
Right.
You know.
So is
it
it
was
like a facial and a massage?
It's like
Sort
yeah,
of.
it's a combination.
It's
but
deep moisturizing and deep tissue massage.
Yeah. They have
Okay.
different options for what you could do there, but honestly, it's like, my face feels so well moisturized.
Me
Like, I usually
too.
have dryness, like, right here, and it's unreal. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's smooth.
I know, and
I
it's a
like
couple
that.
days later.
Yeah.
And I looked at Nico, so I said, do I look 10 years younger? And he goes, maybe like 2. I'm like, I'll take it.
No, but they also have this, like electromagnetic thing that, like, kind of shocks your muscles and activates them so that it kind of is working out the muscles in your face for, like, face tightening. And it is, I was happy to
And the
take
massage part, I need to know about that.
Yeah, I mean, the massage part is really like taking small muscle groups in your face and going deeply in. Like, you've never had a massage like this.
Is it
a
neck too, or
a little bit, but really it's your face.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
mostly face.
And it's, you realize, I've never had a massage like this. I didn't even realize there were this many muscles in my face. Because usually when you go to a massage place and they do your face, it's like very like Swedish, like doo-doo-doo and la la. You know, it's kind of like just generalized. This was very specific. Like it was like here, 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 you know, all the little groups. I was really impressed.
It was,
is it
really impressive.
counterproductive if you do Botox?
You can't do Botox within 2 weeks.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks, you need a 2-week rest before you can do it. But no, I mean, it stimulates collagen, I'm sure, because it's working out your face, and you know that makes collagen. Like I left there and I had like pink cheeks even the next morning. So I'm sure
really
there's like
nice.
blood flow stuff and collagen stuff.
Yeah, they do like lymphatic drainage and stuff and
Yes.
use gua shas to like push all your toxins.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
It's
sounds
beautiful.
Like heaven.
It really was nice. It's at the one hotel. It's like in the lower level of the one
okay.
hotel on Sunset. And yeah.
Face gym.
Face Gym. That place was amazing. But
Oh my God.
it's not cheap. I think
I'm
our service
just
was what,
gonna
$245 a person?
Yeah.
So one needs to have wealth in order to be able to afford the Face Gym.
Yeah, which was awesome. Like everyone should experience Space Jam.
Yes.
Seriously.
I agree. It's one of those things. I remember back in the day that Woody Harrelson used to have a place on Sunset called the Oxygen Bar.
I've
did I ever
one
tell you
of those.
that?
That was a fad for a while.
It was. Did you ever go to one?
No.
It was actually really cool. You'd walk in and there was a menu of oxygen flavors. So you could like pick what flavor, and then you'd go with your oxygen tank and like basically like a nose thing. And it was just people like reading and talking, and this girl sitting beside me had a book which changed my life ultimately, called 4 Arguments for the Elimination of Television, which is a fantastic book. And it was a 1970s book written by an advertiser who turned into a book writer because he saw so much shifting in the way that people were processing advertisements, and how advertising and entertainment were combining together to steal human actual experience from people.
Wow.
So like predicting that people would watch something so accurately, almost like virtual reality. Like you watch a safari on TV and you're emotionally manipulated by this imagery that you feel like you watched the safari. A safari is kind of an innocuous one, but he's like, you're never going to travel to Africa to do the real safari if you feel like you've experienced the safari. But what about when it comes to politics? Now you have opinions on things that you don't even have any experience with, but because you watch some combination of emotionally compelling content with a visual on TV, your body, your senses, everything, it believes it's true. And these things have consequences. And so there are 4 essays in this book. But anyway, it's a very intelligent book. It's a beautiful book. It's completely changed my life and the way I look at advertising and entertainment. And I found that there at the Oxygen Bar. So like people were having intelligent conversations, and that's unusual in LA. You're usually like not in a space where you're talking to people like just strangers and you feel like super high on oxygen. So I think they should bring that back.
Why? Yeah, I was just wondering why that went out of
I
business.
don't know. Maybe
know
we
what?
should start that.
They had one in Vegas too.
They do?
Well, I don't know if it is there now, but they did have it. But that was more for like recovery.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sounds like the morning after.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That's-
you know, people do these IVs. I would
Those
never
shots,
do that.
Yeah, I've heard.
I'm not doing
What
that.
is this?
The
I also
IV
got it
thing?
during COVID. Like we getting these vitamin shots.
Yeah,
because
vitamin
immune booster thing.
IVs and
Yes.
shots. Yeah.
Yes.
Hell no. Not
Okay,
doing that.
no?
But I would put a few tanks of oxygen in this office, flavored oxygen, and just be able to like inhale and breathe because, you know, why not? It's kind of like oxygen gym. It should go hand in hand with face gym.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm
Yeah,
just
true
saying.
that.
Are you good with money?
True that. Am I good with money? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Have you always been good with money?
Have I always been good with money? No. Well, no, I don't think I've ever been like totally reckless.
Right.
But I also haven't always cared about a cushion. You know?
Right.
Like,
You'll spend what you have.
yeah, but I always make it.
Right. You always paid your rent.
I've survived. Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. What is good with money? What does that mean to you?
It means to not spend on unnecessary things. Just to be more mindful on how you spend your money.
See, I
See,
love
to me,
unnecessary
I
things. To
have-
me, that's the whole reason you work.
Right, but to a degree.
Yeah,
I
to a
agree with
degree.
you too, but I was never taught how to handle money. The only thing I ever heard is you save it. Save, and be very frugal. And my mom would, it's crazy, but this was, I don't know, maybe it was the 80s, maybe it was whatever.
Our mom used that word frugal a lot too.
The German version, right?
Burned in my brain.
She would, she would literally go to a different store because the let's say the bread is on sale in the store this week, and we're buying this here and we're buying the other 5 things over there because we got the ad that it's cheaper, like whatever, 50
Right.
cents. We're talking cents,
Right,
right? This
right.
is not like big money.
Right.
But I'm thinking, dude, you were driving your car from this store to go to the other store.
Totally.
It's wasting your time and gas to get the thing for 50 cents less. So
Yeah.
so where I'm like the mindset about money was very like small, you know?
Right.
So now I don't think I have enough, like I like to spend money.
Right.
And that's I think a problem. I don't like Let's just call
The
it what it
first
is.
step
okay?
is honesty.
I like things. I like things. I like pretty things. Instagram knows exactly what I like.
I know Instagram
And
to pick the perfect thing for me
it is
too.
like, okay, here you go, click, 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 and I'm like, I really have to stop myself.
I
And I
know.
have stopped myself. I really have, but it's not. I sometimes think, where's the middle ground? Like, who can teach me? How much can you spend? How much should I spend? How
Like
much should I?
budgeting.
Yes, all that stuff.
Yeah, but you
I'm
know,
really not trained in that.
if you watched Married at First Sight, then you see that people's idea of budgeting and where things should be spent are like very different.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like there's this one couple who has. I don't know if you've seen this season, but there's this one couple who, like, you know, both feel like they're good with money. And, you know, the woman, she likes to spend on vacations and like experiences, like going to games and but she's doing her thing. She's, you know, successful. Like, she feels good about that. And that she feels like it's how she does it. She has savings. She's good. She feels good about
So
it.
she's doing it good, the right way.
Right. But he, you know, she rents. He owns a house.
right.
And he's like, you know, he's a saver. He's like, does budgets. He's very cheap, you know. But he feels like the way he's doing it is
the
right.
right way.
Yeah. So both of them feel like they're great with money and are completely, you know, I mean, have two different perspectives on how it should be spent, but both think that they're right. So I think it's subjective too.
It is.
It
highly
is subjective. It is
But what's the right
subjective, but
way? Are
there's
you
a-
good with money?
Yeah, I think I am. I actually think I am, and it is something that has been learned and earned, I will say, because, you know, when I was a kid, it was also the 80s, same time as you, and I think that frugality concept came from a previous era, almost like a post-World War II era. Like, my grandma and my mom would get each other like coupon clipping organizers for Christmas and stuff, and they had like everything was shopped that way. It felt very like World War II era to me. I hated that.
Yeah.
So my objective in life was to never have to live like that. But the problem with that is the rejection of it means you also reject the structure of being accountable for money. So that the challenge is in creating a new system where you can accomplish enjoying the fruits of your hard work in the ways that make you feel like it's worth it. Because if you're just working to save, that sucks.
Yeah, of course.
And if you're spending money and you're broke all the time, that sucks.
Yes.
So like there has to be the middle ground, like you talk about. But you know, I don't want to count every single penny the way that
They did.
that to me, it
That
might
they
as well
did.
be broke. I
Right.
just can't deal with it like that.
Right.
But what I can do is I can say, okay, percentages I can deal with. Like I can say, okay, I can see how much I downloaded Rocket Money or something where you tie your accounts to it and then it tells you last month you spent $1,000 on Uber Eats or whatever, and you can kind of see in real dollars and cents like what you're spending monthly. And I know what I earn, so I can see, okay, that's that percentage or whatever. In my brain, I think there's I want a frivolity, freedom kind of percentage in there too for just whimsical stuff I want to do.
Yeah, like I want this, whatever.
Like I want to
Thing
go for a
or that,
weekend
this,
at the
yeah.
beach and
Right.
not think about whether it's $3,800 or $5,200 for 4 days or 5 days. Like I want to be able to not care about that because I don't overspend throughout the month on other stuff. Like I know what I care about.
See, that's the middle ground again. So
I mean,
that's what. So
yeah.
how do you learn that? How do you learn?
I think you have to
what is
invent
it?
that.
Right.
Or I think you have to create that for yourself. But then when you do it with a partner, it's different too. Like Nick's saying, you know, having a partner and having their voice in it can cause a lot of conflict for people. Do you think real estate agents are mostly good with money?
I mean, I don't think you can put a blanket over people like that.
Right.
Because I think that there are many different people in the real estate business with many different ways that they spend, and maybe
That's
some
true,
less.
of course.
Which is why these whole like commission, you know, the people who do the kind of like payday loans, like
Yeah.
the commission loans, you know, like that's how they have some prey to prey on, is because some people would be like, yeah, I need this payday loan, which I would not
Right.
say is a good decision.
Right,
You know,
right.
but some people might utilize.
I think real estate agents who are just starting are probably still confined to whatever their previous like thinking and methods were regarding money. But once you've been in real estate for a while, I mean, I remember it very vividly the first few years of being in real estate and seeing money pass through people's accounts and hands, like how much my boss was making and how much the sellers were making and how much down payment the buyers are putting down. It was mind-blowing to me.
Right.
I was like, holy shit. Like somebody has $300,000 in their bank account and they're 30? No way. Like I couldn't believe it. And when the market was appreciating, it was like everybody who owned a house was making a couple $100,000 profit on the house. I mean, I honestly couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because for me, a $5,000 bonus at the end of the year was like, okay, I can go on a vacation, or like, it was a big deal. And then I realized that my big deal was small potatoes, comparatively.
Yeah.
And so it changed my mind about how money works.
Yeah.
And then even the way we
That
get
it
paid in
does.
real estate and everything, it's like you're not working hourly. You're working on a quantity and quality basis. Yes, but it is not hourly.
Yeah.
You can't really put a dollar amount on what your hour looks like and what level of skill and intensity is required. So I think it's unique in that way.
Yeah, totally.
So today's guest is Jenn Hirsch of Soulful Wealth. She's going to be speaking with us about astrology and wealth and giving us some tips and tricks onto how to like align with our destiny while also enjoying the fruits of our labor. Welcome, Jenn.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. So why don't you tell our audience what Soulful Wealth means and how you came up with this idea?
So Soulful Wealth is the holistic practice of how we engage with our money and our values. There's no one way that we feel good just with a paycheck in our account, right? Like money by itself does not satisfy us. Rather, we want to bring all of ourselves into our relationship with the material world, whether that's the house we live in, the friends we keep, the money in our paycheck, the job we do, what all of this means and how we take care of our family in it all and the people we love. Like all of that is wrapped up into, in our current state, the flow of money in exchange. Having been a Wharton MBA, being at the heart of and source of where money is created, the regulations that drive this, being a global futurist at a huge accounting firm for 5 years.
A global futurist?
A global futurist.
What the heck is
What
that?
is that? Yes.
So futurism is the study that's quantitatively driven to say, like, where are we headed? So you build all these financial models, you look at qualitative and quantitative data, and then you make predictions about what humans are going to want. So all my life, 20 years, I was a futurist who looked at regulatory markets, so healthcare, finance, anything, taxes, fun things like that, and how that's changing the world.
Did you predict like fentanyl?
No, but I did predict the pandemic.
Oh, you did?
I did. I
Let's
said
talk about
between
that.
January 2020 and March of 2020, we'd have something resembling a global zombie level apocalypse, like a fast spreading disease that would shut down all borders for at least 2 years and curtail global travel.
When did you predict this?
2018.
And did you predict
Why?
it because you saw that the medical industry needed this?
No, I was more looking at like too many systems were overloaded, so something big had to interfere, and it had to be a healthcare crisis because we were doing all these things that were health risky, and people were going all over the globe with little to no monitorization of like global outbreaks or anything like that. So it was very clear that whatever would happen fast and would happen everywhere.
But
Wow.
But if we know, like, just to stick on
Sure.
the COVID thing, like I saw the New York Times article that said, okay, it's like the government's saying it definitely came from that lab.
Right.
Well, had that not happened, you think it would have been something else?
Something else.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
it would be a lab here.
Maybe it would be something from somewhere.
Something from somewhere.
Not even naturally occurring necessarily.
Correct.
I mean,
like
like
I
that.
said, zombie level apocalypse.
Right.
And like the thing that is right about that is it did infect people surprisingly quickly globally, and it did shut down our borders.
Oh yeah.
What systems were overloaded?
Everything, like governments, healthcare, travel, finance, like media, even like everything kind of needed a break.
Interesting.
Huh.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, I quite enjoyed the break myself. I will admit that. But I feel like the break is over. I mean, we're back in it. So should we be looking out for number 2?
Now I'm gonna shift to like the astrologer part
Okay.
of my soulful wealth work. So like,
Yeah, she got out of
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, I'll get back to it.
So where are we now? Like, where are we now? Are
Okay.
we in a...
No, everything's going to be super crazy until 2026. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
I love it.
All right, there we go. We can work with that. I like the truth.
Yeah. Like, you're German, of course you do. Like, give it to me straight.
There we go.
It's not good, bitch. So yes, everything's going to be totally crazy. COVID was just a highlight. I like to tell everyone, I was like, but it doesn't have to be bad if you know what's coming. Like, if you just know everything's just kind of up in the air and things that were stable. Like, when COVID happened, the thing I tell to everyone, I was like, we're not going back. And people are like, no, 2 years, like, this is all done. I'm like, no, that was a time that is done. And we're in new times. And we all are collectively defining what that new time is, which is why I created Soulful Wealth. I had a toddler, I had a baby. Thank you. And I was like, this thing that has called to me, that has been a part of my life for almost as long as I've been this very corporate, very driven, very business-minded, money-minded person, this element of spirituality is insistent that I give it form. And there's so many people out there who struggle with the concept of money, what it means to them, how they have it, how they hold it. Even just talking about it is so taboo. And yet we all love astrology. And especially now, like, you're just seeing the growth of tarot and metaphysics and like people having it in their day-to-day conversations. So if you can combine money with something that feels a bit spiritual, a bit outside of yourself, all of those intuitive practices that we are growing to love and are just growing in importance, isn't that a better tool to understand what we value and how we want to exchange that value with the world?
Yes, but I want to know if there's another COVID coming.
Back to the Rona.
Okay.
No, really what my question is, okay, and it kind of ties into this. It's like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Astrology has a component about it that is almost like fate-based, right? Like, we're like, it's aligned, it's in the stars. Not that you can't change what you do, but on some level, even just saying I'm a Virgo and then it comes with these certain qualities, you know, has a certain, like, it is written kind of quality to it, right? Whereas things like events of the day, be that a pandemic or a war or something like that, are man-made. Like, these are things that we created. So how much of what it is that we can expect in terms of these predictions that I love that you're making is man-made versus written?
Well, isn't that the concept of free will that we're all actively engaged in? But I do want to answer that. So my personal point of view on that is each of us have a very specific fate, but we have infinite possibilities how we want to enact that fate.
Okay.
So that even out there, if we have energy that requires like a war, do we actually have to fight the war? Can it be a war of words? Can it be a war of ideas? Can it have a different form or expression? With clients, if they have a tough year, like let's say they have a year ruled by Saturn, which is kind of a jerk. Saturn is like, you need to do the work. You need to be disciplined. I'm taking away your fun times. If you give Saturn like, okay, well, I'm going to work on this big project and I'm going to show up every day and do the work, they won't do the hard things like break your bones or knock out your teeth or like take away things that are fun from you, because you're showing up and doing the work in the way it wants you to do work. So we're moving into this big period where Pluto, which is this huge powerful planet, and
it's a dwarf planet, really.
We still as astrologers consider it in our, you know, like a tiny little dwarf planet.
It got downgraded.
It got downgraded. What's a dwarf planet? Like a star?
A dwarf planet. It's just a little one because you
somewhere
got
between
downgraded from
a planet and an asteroid.
Okay.
Anyway, as astrologers, we're like, nah, it's still in there.
Still in there. Okay, got it. Keep going.
Still at the observatory.
Yeah, it's still important. So Pluto's moving into Aquarius. So with Pluto in Aquarius, you could expect more infectious airborne diseases because Aquarius ruled by air. Aquarius is also fast and infectious. Like, we could see more in different types of airborne diseases. You could also see a proliferation of new tech models. You could also see a proliferation of new tech media. We don't have to be diseased. You could also see, you know, more TikTok-like things where like someone starts to do something and that behavior catches it, right? We're watching something online and like if you know, if you have children, you're seeing how obsessed they are with YouTube, how obsessed they are with TikTok.
Nikos is doing this thing now where he goes, "What are you talking about?" I'm doing that. I'm like, oh my God.
Like Ice Spice.
It's something from TikTok.
Is that his Ice Spice impression?
I don't know what that
has
means.
to be. Ice Spice is like a female rapper, but she does this like, she's from New York,
And his
she does this thing
advertisement
where she
too
rolls
on
letters.
TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like full on advertisement. Morgan the other day, Mom, with United now you can get free Wi-Fi all over. I'm like, wait, what? They have free Wi-Fi in United. I'm like, how do you know that? Well, I'm on TikTok. I told you they're advertising on TikTok now. I'm like,
Well, listen, I mean, even though it's fast, I guess, and it affects our children, which maybe previously, like when we were kids, we had like 10 channels or like 15 channels to choose from. So the information spread also, like we had Cabbage Patch Kids were, little,
the little
dolls
ugly
that people went crazy for and stuff like that. So there was still a viral component to our life. Always there's been a thing people just are obsessing over since I've been around. But they didn't have access to my child like the way they do now, specifically on TikTok.
And the interesting thing about tech is it's created a monoculture. So young children here in America, in LA, are no different from children in Iowa, are no different from children in Japan. I mean, I'm saying generalizations because everyone is watching the same
media.
People.
Same people, yeah.
Like the same people, the same kids. Like, I mean, what was the recent, there were highly confidential documents about the U.S. role in Ukraine that were leaked because of Discord.
Yeah.
Right? Like that it went into one social media channel and made all of its way to Russian Telegram from one single person making this action. And so because of that, like even if we did watch the same 10 channels, there was more media that was fringe, that were like you didn't have to opt into those channels. You weren't chastised if you didn't want to opt in. You could be popular, you could be mainstream, but you had other avenues and other things to opt into. Whereas growing up today, that there's nothing else for them to opt into. It's so all-consuming, it's so pervasive. And even we don't even know if you're spending any time online or any time in an industry, the way that trends catch on, the way that an industry kind of consolidates, becomes more formal from the tech's influence. Sorry, this is sometimes where the futurist comes in.
No, I like the futurist aspect to it because I think that there's some commonalities to, one thing I always remember, like when I was younger, Like a Virgin came out, remember? And we talked about how I didn't understand what it meant. I thought it meant, I couldn't understand why there were protests because I thought it meant when a boy touches you like this for the first time. This was second grade.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's the big deal? I didn't Google there was no Google. I didn't look in a dictionary to see what virgin was. I don't remember having that, like, I was innocent, and I think on some level, the one thing that's true is that kids are only processing at their level of actual understanding about the world. That's the thing we underestimate about it because we're looking at it and going, this is perverse. What I'm watching right now is disgusting. Whether it's somebody blowing up a cat or something, like there are things I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe my kid is watching this right now. It's ridiculous. Or completely brain numbing. Like I see it, I'm like, I don't understand. Nicholas would be like, look at this video. And I watch it and it's like
not
a
funny.
turtle jumping off a bridge and then a guy with an explosive and then somebody with a rifle and then a clown and then a birthday cake. And he's like, crazy, right? I'm like, what the hell was that?
That's exactly.
It was nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you making sense of this?
Yeah.
I don't know what the impact of it is, but I do think that the one thing I feel optimistic about is that they're still seeing it through the eyes of a child. So the level of invasiveness into the psychology isn't as intense as maybe adult parents might think it is. But what about socialization? What's your future? What's your prediction? Because we in real estate talk about economics from a macro and a micro perspective. Like,
so meaning what's going on in your region versus what's going on as a whole.
in the world with global money markets, the global money crisis, that wasn't local.
No.
But boy, did it affect people locally, And even like in a neighborhood, how the rich exist with the poor, or like how homeowners exist with renters, or what, we're always seeing these disparities in how people see money and the world and whatever. Is that going to get better?
What's better?
What's better is probably people who want access to more opportunities don't have to fight as hard to get them.
Yeah.
Is that better? Is that what we say is better?
So more like, what is the humanitarian aspect of it all?
Well, I'm saying, like, if somebody like me, like the young kid version of me who doesn't know anything about money, might have more access to a grant to help me buy my condo, earlier on in my life so that I can never get on welfare or never have to do something that compromises me, that lands me in jail, because I have support systems that allow me to access the types of wealth that do provide soul satisfaction, like owning a home. See how I did that?
Yeah. Okay. Soul satisfaction, like owning a home. There are some people who will only be satisfied by homes, and there are some people who are like, I don't need a home. I want to rent forever.
We don't know a lot of those people.
No, you don't meet those people. But like government-wise, what I think and a lot of that is like locally driven, and it is state driven, at least in the U.S. if we're talking about, and then it is federal driven, right? Because like tax structures or things that happen at a federal level.
Right.
What I suspect is going to happen, both as an astrologer and as a futurist, is that more and more decisions are actually going to be made at a local level, like maybe at the state level, and we're already starting to see indications of this, but like your county is going to matter a lot more.
So local government representation is going to matter a lot more.
And what you want to have happen in your neighborhood. One of the things, I'm a year and a half new to LA, and one of the things that's so striking about it is like how fierce and how different every neighborhood is.
Yeah.
And how every county like is really different, and how Santa Monica is its own little entity out
LA is
there.
like a city of little villages.
Right. And I actually think that's one of the reasons why LA will continue to thrive. So as a place, it offers so much, and it can offer so much because it has diversity, it has real strong local roots, and even though there are people who come in and out, the people who come in and out do value their neighborhood, do value where they live.
But real estate's very expensive in LA, and there's a lot of people who feel that it's out of reach for them.
Right, and
So
a lot
is
of
that going to get better?
I mean, if you think about inventory, right? That's for me.
There's inventory if you have the money.
Right, but that's the big wild card is how fast can we build and what can we build and how fast are people's preferences changing, right? Everybody still dreams of a single family home, and you look at the single family home prices and they're so out of reach. And a lot of like urbanists are saying, no, build higher, build more condos, build more dense in a city. And in LA, we don't have density. We actually do have a lot of single family homes. So how are all those decisions made? Well, there's incentives with developers to develop those kind of homes. There's appetite from consumers to buy those sort of things. There's like, there's different developments that kind of take into account that. Like you can have like, what is it? Larchmont Village is such a strange little neighborhood. You guys know these neighborhoods.
But yeah, Larchmont's very cute. I mean, it's single family homes, but what I'm saying is, in this like bigger picture of what the future is going to look like, and you said it's going to be kind of crazy from now until 2026.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what the imbalances are composed of.
Okay.
What is crazy?
So immediately, like as in right now, we're all going to get a lot more selfish.
Okay.
For the next 2 years, we're all going to be very selfish and like even go smaller than we already have been with our networks and our tribes. We're going to be even more tightly knit.
Okay.
So I suspect the answer to your question
because I was thinking about Nikos and socialization and the kids like they're socializing on the phones and like that kind of thing, and then these disparities between people are growing and the feeling of like rich and poor. So yes, keep going.
So for the next 2 years, smaller.
We're going to stick to our own.
Stick to our own, and even stick to like your own, like really, really
like your
small.
family,
like your family, or just like your best friend, or
right.
like the person you feel closest to. Then after that, something's going to break us all open, and we will start to consider those, like see how interconnected we all are, and think about how we improve our day to day to help us all feel more connected. To think about the things that we share, the resources we share, the environments that we share, and so like we're going to go. I hope that everybody likes to embody compassionate selfishness. Like, can you be wise and heartfelt in your selfishness instead of like aggressive or combative in it? And then once you move there and like understand yourself better, know what you can share of yourself and contribute to these collectives, like what your role is in shepherding the new model or new thing you want to see.
Well, we do say that real estate agents, I say real estate agents are customer service oriented narcissists. Falls in there.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like service based. Like
right.
Our self adoration comes from how high quality our service is to you and how happy you are.
It's true.
It's kind of in there.
You know, I thought about one of my earliest memories when we moved from Illinois to California and how amazing I thought our real estate agent was. She was like my earliest hero. thought she was
Oh,
fab.
that's so cute.
You know?
I love
She was
that.
fab, and she was like always fab, and she was always well dressed.
So I've met so many. I'm like the lady that trained me too. She was just like 64 when I met her, fully head to toe Ralph Lauren, just like such a badass. And she just I was like, I want to be you when I grow up. I mean, she was amazing. So for Soulful Wealth, are you a consultant for businesses, or do you do private sessions and coaching with people, or both, or how's it structured?
I do both. So like I'll work with a business to be like, okay, what's your year ahead for your business look like? How can we time the launches of new products or new platforms, or think about your fundraising for your company? Like I've been on calls with the entire marketing team when we're like thinking about designing launches. And I love being an ally to them as they like think through that. I'm like, okay, well, that's got to move here because the timing of that's not going to reflect well on your company, or it's going to be a mismatch of like your messages or what you're trying out there. And I view it as co-creation, because I'm just providing like hints and insights and possibilities, and like come with it, of course, with like, I am helping you think about the bottom line. I've been in the shoes of creating businesses and companies and helping entrepreneurs like for years create new things. But I'm also saying like, okay, but the stars say, here's what's really good for you, and like, let's work with that. I work with individuals who may be going through tough times, and they're like, okay, when's the tough time going to end, or when can I expect some relief from this? And like helping them create rituals through those tough times to like harness the insights, to harness the gold of what is there, and then think about like when the release is going to happen. And like, you can say like, okay, it's only going to be tough for this long, and then you're like, okay, I get a break, but I'm going to make it through. And then I work with people who are just starting out, and they're like, I feel like I'm in the wrong place. And I can help people diagnose like, well, why do you feel like you're in the wrong place? What's missing here? What are you not giving yourself permission for? What are you like trying to hide about who you are and what you want in this world that like isn't finding expression?
So does that lean more into the astrology part? Like
100% in
money,
the astrology.
More about.
Yeah, I think sometimes we make decisions. Money is such a hinge for our decisions one way or another. Like, I'm not going to pursue a path because I don't think there's any money there. And sometimes people talk themselves out of things, and they're like, no, I'm going to choose something that looks traditional. Like, I'm going to pick a career in tech over something else because you make so much money in tech. And yet that decision to go into tech is so misaligned with them that they can't even sustain, what that is to feed their bottom line, and they just want out. Like, I think about myself, if I'd ever become an investment banker, having gone to Wharton, sure. And I remember meeting one investment banker, and like, nope, never, not for me, don't care. There's nothing you can say to me that will make me choose this as a career. Right? But there's a huge pot of money there.
But it's not just about money.
But it's not just about money. That's the point. Like, and some people are designed to make huge amounts of money doing things that we like. My favorite example is whoever invented the little tie on your bread is a gazillionaire.
Yeah.
A little tab.
Like, that little plastic
thing. Yeah, the little
thing.
plastic tab. One person, gazillionaire. Like
Post-its.
Yeah, Post-its or things like, but would it feel good to you to engage in the kind of work you do? Do you like it? Like, if you're in real estate, do you like client service? Do you like meeting people, or are you just like, no, I just want to do the paperwork and leave me alone? Like,
there are definitely people that feel like that, for sure.
Right, and so why don't you find a job that you could just do paperwork all day, right?
Totally.
Like,
no, you're saying something that I mean, honestly, I've said in training to our agents a million times. Like, if you think this is going to be easy because you passed the exam that you studied for online for 30, but not really 30 hours or whatever, you're wrong. Like, this is an actual business, a real career. Millions of dollars are on the line. And if you don't understand or don't know how to operate this like a business, you're going to fail.
Right.
This is like the NFL. It either moves you or it doesn't. And no matter what people say, it's what they do that shows where their real intentions lie, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so if you find, there's people who just unconsciously avoid work. And throughout my life, if I've been unconsciously avoiding work, I've been like, what's wrong? I love work. I love money. Money loves me. Let's all say it.
It's an energy.
It's an energy, And so if I haven't been fully engaged in my work, that's a sign to me of like, oh, what's off in my alignment? Like,
right.
And it's not that I have to give everything to my work, though I have gone through the workaholic tendencies, but I know that if I'm passionately engaged in something, it's what I'm meant to be doing. And if I'm completely indifferent to it, then I should quit the next day. you know.
Yeah.
But that's how I'm wired.
Right.
Other people can have jobs that are just jobs, and they're great at going through the motions and doing the things that are. And other people need to have something that they bring their whole heart and soul to. And some people have something that is a paycheck, so they can be an artist on the side, or they can try for the work that they need to do. Like, Soulful Wealth is about creating the whole life and the whole package of what supports you, and what gives you the attention, the consciousness to pick the things that you're interested in, that really reflect who you are and what gifts and talents you are here to share with the world, and kind of what your unique struggle is, because we're all struggle. And it's okay if you understand that the struggle is sacred and divine and wonderful, and like what's in that path, other than being like, oh, woe is me, like here's this thing again, I feel so burdened. Like, it's all about shifting that narrative to be more positive.
So what aspect of someone's chart
Yeah.
dictates how they'll be with money?
A couple.
Okay.
So one is chief among them. You're looking at the second house for specifically money in your own bank account.
Okay.
Like, how
What's
does
the second house?
So you have to know your accurate time of birth.
Okay.
And then you use a system of astrology, and it lays out 12 different houses that represent different areas of our life. The second house is literally the money in our bank account, what we get as a paycheck, what we get as a commission, what we get as a sale. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have the big bucks. Oftentimes people who have the big bucks sit in the 8th house, and the 8th house is like banks, institutions. It's understanding the flow of money and building a structure that creates a bunch of money for not just you, but for other people. Versus the second is your money, and the 8th is everybody's money.
Okay, got it.
Then you look at somebody's Venus, which is like, how well aspected is that Venus? And you would want to look at, does that help them in their rising sign, moon sign, and sun sign, which we all know living in LA, because everyone asks, what's your rising all the time?
Yeah.
But the rising...
I don't know my... Do you know my rising? You did our thing. Okay.
Do you know mine?
I do. I know
Okay,
all of
great.
your
Oh
rising.
my
Wait
gosh.
to find out.
Very curious to know about these things.
I know my
but keep
sun
going.
sign, that's
Okay.
it.
So would your rising sign help or hinder you in the career you're choosing? So, for example, I'm a Capricorn rising. I'm an utterly ridiculous human who's now an astrologer, but I still hung with a Wharton MBA crowd because I'm a Capricorn rising. Because if I need to be, I'm all business. I'm all seriousness. As a human, I'm kind of ridiculous.
Okay.
You know? Like,
I don't find you ridiculous, but if that's how you,
well,
that's how you
like-
feel.
well,
you mean
if-
you're like silly and playful, not like
Silly.
straight business. Is that what
right,
you
not
mean?
straight business. And I have Uranus conjunct my midheaven, which makes me deeply eccentric.
Okay.
Shall we say.
Got it.
Deeply eccentric.
She's quirky, deeply.
Yes. number one way people describe me. Number one way people describe me.
What kind of rituals can people do to bring in abundance?
So I love the mantra, as I was saying earlier, is I love money and money loves me. It's just a joy to say.
Yeah.
And it kind of push away any programming we have around like the guilt of money.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You don't talk about money.
Nope.
You don't ask about money. It's always this like, let's not talk about
Secret
it.
thing, taboo.
That's how I grew up. Don't talk about money.
I was at a conference for witches. And
For
I was-
witches?
For conference for witches.
I love that.
To understand how all these people are out there practicing, you know, because I'm innately curious. And I was like, look, I want to talk about how we make money. Is that okay? And you could hear the collective gasp from the room. Like, how dare you ask something so profane as like, can we talk about money? And it was controversial. And I'm like, why can't we talk about this? Like, what is layered onto that we can't have these conversations, that they're so scary?
Well,
And
also, who wins when we don't talk about money? I think that's another important thing.
That's a
We've
huge
learned a
question.
lot doing this podcast about how people perceive money. I mean, I've been floored by the varying different ways that people perceive money and how it's emotionally loaded and significant and bleeds into other aspects of their life, honestly, and their vision and their sunglasses and like the way they see the world and everything. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's like money is such a live component in most people's lives. I am also shocked that it is so taboo to talk about. We talk about it when we don't have it, and we let people who have a lot of it talk about it, but there's no middle ground. It seems like not a lot of middle ground.
Like, it's not casual chit chat.
It's not.
right?
In real estate, I feel like we made it more of a conversation. Like probably we, among our friends, talk more about investment properties and our big bear house and this thing and how's it earning and da. Like we casually probably talk about it more than most people, obviously.
Because it's your profession.
Because it's our profession.
So there's a comfort with that language already.
Right.
Yeah.
So people step into our world and we're like freely expressing it because they walk in wanting to talk about it. It's like a barbershop haircut thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's very uncomfortable because it reveals something to someone that they don't want to discuss about themselves to other people. Like they were raised poor, or they don't have enough, or even now they're struggling, or there's something that's shameful in there.
Or you do have it and you feel guilty that maybe somebody else doesn't, and then or somebody else thinks, oh, they're fine, they have enough, and then that somehow maybe makes it go away. Like there's
a
just
huge amount of
even
shame.
that saying is weird to me. Like
Yeah, and it's
I
hard
would
to
never
feel-
tell my mom what I earned, for example. I
Really?
wouldn't want her to know. This is like
It's hard to feel proud
yes, it's
about
also so
your
weird.
accomplishment
Yeah.
around money.
Yeah, it's just
I'm gonna
almost like I
sneeze.
don't want to curse it.
There with luck too, it's like there is this very old superstition that you can never look luck straight on, right? Because if you look luck straight on, it'll disappear. And we have conflated luck and money because we often don't look at the systems that create money. We're too scared to even talk about money. Like I would imagine when people start in real estate, they're like, oh, what do all these things mean? What does commission mean?
It's a big thing. You mean start in real estate as agents?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a test where we make people who apply to be at ACME fill out a contract to see their understanding of terms like down payment or first trust or whatever.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know the difference between like closing costs and down payments and earnest money deposits and all of the things that we talk about in our business.
Right.
Even though they're licensed real estate agents.
Like I do taxes with pride and joy, and my husband's like, "Cool, I'm not going to touch it." And but because that is ultimately at the end of the year, like taxes are a huge component of how much cash flow you have.
Of course.
Every asset you have is a huge component of that, and we can't even talk about that. And God forbid the tax agencies come for you because there's no recourse, right? There's basically like, here's more money. Okay, go away now. But even in that, in all the ways that money flows through our life, if we don't look money straight on, money and luck are not related. They are different. But we don't know that if you don't know the systems that are creating money. And you can look those straight on. Some of them do escape, like kind of notice, like try and ask a hedge fund person how they make money, right? Try and think about how your local government makes money. Like if you start to break apart and see all these systems, like sometimes you can't even see the whole of it because it's held by so many people, right?
Yeah, like where does all the money from the ULA go? Where is it going? Just curious. Just would love to see where that money goes. Okay, so how do you feel like you would advise real estate agents to better master their money?
Okay. Can we put an astrology in there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about their sun and their moon.
Okay.
It's like the sun is how you want to play with your money.
Okay.
Like how
Like our sun sign.
sun sign. Yeah.
Okay.
So if
Fun.
you're
Okay, sun is
Cancer-
how you play with money.
Yeah, we play with
So there's some Virgos here. There's some Cancer. You're the
I'm a
Virgo.
Scorpios.
Scorpio and Sag Scorpio.
Yeah.
You're in the cusp.
Yeah.
You're solid cusp. So I'm just going to use those as examples. So
Okay.
Virgo is like, here is my plan for how my money goes. Like, I love putting it in the boxes that the boxes go in. And like, like, here's the project that my money needs to go to
Right.
of improving something,
Totally.
right? Like
Yes.
there's a system. Scorpio is like, how can I get the thing I want more? Like you need to like, like kind of have this thing you like have a desire for and you're like, and when I have enough. And like, it's like kind of secret the thing you want the most. You are like, you could either light it on fire or like treat it more like her. Like you're like, it's a Tuesday, choose one, right? Like you either have like a driving need of how you're going to do it and it's so clear and it's so insightful and nothing will stand in your way, or you're like, fun times, like lit it on fire. Then you would go to your moon sign, and your moon sign is like, how do you feel nurtured? How would you feel taken care of? Depending on where that is, like then you would know more of like what needs to nurture for you. Is it a spa day? Is it long-term savings? Is it improvement in the home? Like that's another pocket of your money that you'd have to see enacted. Some people, like let's say you're a fire sign, you'd like it'd be more of the like I need it to fuel my vacations. I need it to be about like the things that are fun and nights out or nights with girlfriends. If you're an earth sign, you're like, oh, retirement savings, like something like for the long run. If you're a water sign, it's like, how does this nurture me? How does this soothe me? And if you're an air sign, you're like, I've decided that these things are going to, like, you have your plan on the inside of like, wow, there it's going to go. And those two things have to work in concert. Sometimes even within ourselves, those things are in opposition, right? You're like, and so you have to plan with your money. And then the other thing, which I think I've talked about, is like you also have to know that it's not like a W-2 job where you get the same amount every year.
Right.
And so you have to know how you're good at handling like the tidal influxes and flows and like what your natural tendency are. Like if you're someone who's apt to light your huge paycheck on fire, like put in systems to stop that from happening, you know? Like don't like know what your bad habits would be with money and kind
play
of
offense.
Yeah, play offense.
Instead of just letting your habits run your money management style.
What are our moon signs? Do you have them?
I do. I got your charts.
Okay.
Let's hear it. You guys don't have an accurate birth time. Lovely German Silke over here. Accurate.
That is so good.
Like our mom didn't
I lived
keep
in Germany
records
for a
like that.
year, so like
You
it's a
know.
lot of love.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of love.
We like our.
Yeah. So you, Courtney, are a solid Libra moon.
A Libra moon. Okay.
Yeah. So that means you're really gifted at making things beautiful, and you like to invest in things that make you feel beautiful or the environments around you beautiful.
Well, that's true. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And Dominique, you're either an Aquarius or a Capricorn moon because the birth time you gave me is exactly on the dot. So if you're a Capricorn moon, you're all about the long-term planning. Like, man, you love to save. Man, you love to big towards big goals. But if you're an Aquarius, man, you're a weirdo.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Like, you're like, is it weird? I want to do it. like want to do it. And the good news about Aquarius moons is like you can be really, really lucky. Like you could have huge windfalls of cash. And the other problem is it's feast or famine, if that's what it is with you. Could be. And Silke, you are a Virgo moon. So your finances are probably really in order because you like them that way. Not always. Oh, right. Because hold on, I know. Because your Virgo moon is in your Leo house, so sometimes you spend really extravagantly. You like nice things. That's your Achilles heel. You like luxury goods. It's okay.
She does.
Yeah.
This is sort of, yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like at least luxury goods mostly increase with value, but far be it for you to part with a luxury good because there's
luxury
some
good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not talking luxury.
Luxury, not luxury.
No.
It's relative luxury.
Relative luxury.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the dress is $250
Okay.
or something, right?
Yeah.
Not like $4,000.
Yeah, no, never there.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we're not looking at. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't
Only
pay
High
for
quality luxury.
high quality. We're not. Yeah, I'm not paying for
like
brand names.
Pieces
Not-
you could give to your kid
Yeah.
later.
Right. Okay.
Only the hand soap and the perfume is $4,000.
Well, we're on the Someone come to my rescue here. Come on.
Yeah, I have to say, I need this to be very clear. I pay for high quality things and not a lot of them.
Okay.
Right.
So where, I think some people would buy like a lot of cheap perfumes.
Right.
I have a few expensive perfumes that I repeat buy or that are my favorite things because the smells are more complicated, the quality is better, and it just makes me feel so much better than a cheap perfume, which gives me a headache and, smells cheap.
Right.
Or whatever. Like I get my shoes fixed. I might spend $1,500 on a pair of shoes, very rarely, but when the heels break, I don't throw them away. I get them fixed. So I keep them, I have a lot of shoes because I've acquired them over the years, but I repair them. Anyway, I feel you.
It's the quality, but it's not the
quality.
luxury
You can't-
goods by all means.
Yeah,
yes.
it's not like the
But
quantity.
it's not the cheap stuff either. I'm in the middle field. But I do like nice things.
Yes.
So that is true.
Yeah. I mean, it's an earth sign. It's an appreciation of it.
But shouldn't we? I mean, like, I feel like the one thing that's like challenging in this like modern world that they didn't have in the 80s when we were growing up. Well, in the 80s, like indulging was a dream. Like
Right.
you'd see it on TV, Beverly Hills 90210, even like
Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
I mean, the whole thing.
Right.
Everything looks so glamorous and like so many, like even in the 80s movies, it was always like the cool kids with the cars, you know, and their parents had the big houses, and it was just very, you know, whatever.
And now Astro boots cost $4,000 and make you look like a comic boy.
There's that too. Yeah, exactly. But also like now I feel like it's like we were saying before, like people don't want to be obnoxious with it. There's this consciousness of not being over, you know, if you live in a world like the Kardashians, I guess you can do that. But in real world, like we don't even want to meet other people who are obnoxiously outwardly showy or flashy or pretentious, right?
I think it depends where you're at.
Yeah, I think like
explain what do you mean?
Yeah, because there's definitely people who love to indulge in those like the Astro boots, for example, which I don't know if you know.
I've seen them.
Yeah,
I have not.
and
terrible.
they're
Cartoon
horrible.
shoes.
They're horrible,
Yes.
but if you have them, it's a statement.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like you have the money to have them.
Yeah. And so
Right.
there's definitely
Rolex
like
watch.
people who, you know, for example, just like on, you know, like the people who frequent stores on Fairfax that are like hype beast stores,
right.
you know, where you're paying, you know, $500 for a Supreme keychain, you know what I mean? But it has Supreme on it.
Right.
So I'm going to pay that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Or, you know, this is like one of 20, you know,
Limited
bags made
edition,
by,
yeah.
like similarly to Birkins,
That's
you know?
the name brand again, right?
Right, but
Yeah.
it's like, you know, but there are people who, you know, if they have a Birkin, they want
Yeah.
to show that they have a Birkin.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right.
this
But
bag is
isn't there something
40
in the
grand.
soulful aspect of wealth, of having wealth, that is not about flash?
it's dependent, right? Like what soulful wealth would be is like, do you know why you're buying that Birkin?
Well,
Are
if it's
you-
to show it to everybody else, then I doubt that it's for me.
But
I don't think it's ever for that kind of money for a purse is never for you. That is to show what you
know,
got.
right.
That's flashy, and that's
Go
just what
ahead,
it is.
Nick, get at it.
I will say, okay,
Yeah.
one of the things that in my soul I want
It's a
that
Birkin bag?
everyone will think is ridiculous, but I want it because it's just so amazing, is this rose gold private jet.
I love it. I would get on
It's
it.
for no one but me.
Hey, can I get
To
on it?
thoroughly enjoy this rose gold private jet. It's just beautiful. It's
Okay,
beautiful.
okay.
And it's on my list. For years it's been on my list. And you know what? It would obviously people be like, oh my God, look at that. That is so obnoxious. But it's like, no, this is mine. This is my rose gold private jet.
And you might
That's
have
amazing.
your rose gold private jet, and that might mean something really big to you. But it's like, how much money do you have to do? What do you do with the rest of the money? Like, if that's the thing that makes you happy, and you're giving as much as the jet costs to like several charities and building housing for people, is it bad that they have a rose gold jet? Right? Like, because that rose gold jet went to make alloys, went to make a plane, went to learn all these different things. So money is always flowing and always fueling things. Like, we want what we want. Now, sometimes we want without end. Like if you own 10 Birkin bags, that might be a problem, right? If you own one, okay. Like that was your rose gold jet. There may be something really important to you about that Birkin, about that having that one Birkin. And there's something beautiful and to be said for the craft in making a Birkin. Like money is going towards these things. And again, especially in this period coming up of compassionate selfishness, like acknowledge those craven needs you have, acknowledge those things, but kind of dissect where they come from.
So it's in the investigation of where your desire for the material things come from,
Yes.
that you can find the answer to what level of wealth you need to crave to satisfy your soul. Did I say it right?
Or even like, okay, if the Birkin is so important, like what does that mean about the society you keep? What does that mean about the status you have to single? Is that really yours? Does that feel good to you? Or is it giving you anxiety? Are you staying up at night? Are you doing things that aren't really yours to do? Some people participate in things fully engaged and like they're lucky that they have large S. And some people are like pushing themselves and, you know, staying up late at night and anxious about like what's going on in their bank account. Can we have ease? Can we have joy with the flow of money? Can we love the rose gold jet uncomplicatedly if that's what we want, but do so much good? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
That's what everyone's
like
talking
take
about.
your friends on the jet. Like,
Yeah.
like what? Like what else is going on? And I think that is part of the money conversation. Like, it is good to focus on what you want. And we all have a narrative about like, oh, what does everybody else want? Like, at least I can look at the astro shoes and be like, wow, that's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. And yet there's people out there who are like, those are the coolest things I've ever seen. I need to own it. I think
whoever created them is laughing every day.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm
oh,
saying.
and just like, and the
clothes.
money machine for them goes burr.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
know, but we should be more focused on ourselves and the things that we want to achieve, and like be open to the conversation. Like, Dominique, what does that rose gold jet really mean to you?
What does
You know?
it mean to Unique?
It's just a beautiful thing.
Okay.
Just love
You
it.
want to have
I
it.
came across it and I was like, wow, that is beautiful. Like,
Who
I
owns
love
it?
rose gold.
Who
but-
owns one?
I mean, it wasn't one that was owned by anyone. It was just like like I came across it
How much does it
somewhere.
cost?
I think it's like $250.
Million?
I know,
No.
it's not expensive.
there's
well,
no
okay,
way.
this
It has
was
to be
years
more
ago.
than
This
that.
was a
Okay.
few years
Okay.
ago.
No
So at this
way.
point, it's more than that, I'm sure. But it was $250 a few years
Yeah.
ago.
And,
I haven't kept a monitor on it.
and again, Aquarian, if it is an Aquarian moon, like that's something really unique. A rose gold, it's a jet, so it's like of an airplane. Like if you're also like, I need a rose gold rocket to go with my rose gold jet, I'd be like, Aquarius moon, right? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't turn down a rose gold rocket.
right? So like, and that's her unique sort of thing versus like, I have a Virgo moon in the 8th house, so I'm like, I just don't want stuff. I have to like divest of clutter all the time. I want less and less things because I think that like they all have emotional baggage attached to the stuff. So I'm like, oh, emotional purging. Okay, all the stuff is leaving my house. Like, and I want to travel light and travel often.
What's the 8th house thing? Do you know what's in our 8 houses?
I do.
8th house? Okay.
I do know. I mean, these two might be because I don't have their accurate birth time, but I could tell you yours. Would you like to know?
Sure.
So it's usually how we make money through others or for others. And you don't have anywhere picking up
No.
that. Okay, good.
The secret data.
Yeah, the secret data. So yours is in Capricorn, so you're really good at knowing wealthy people. And you, so the gift, one of the things I was looking at in all of you, I was like, why did you pick real estate? You have a double dose of Cancer, which is the sign of homes, on your 2nd house. So you would make money through homes. It's like quite literal. Capricorn is, you probably tend to have like really quality clients, like high net worth individuals or the people who are powerful tend to work more with men over women, which is interesting because women make more home decisions, but that's what it would say. And you have luck working for like strong domineering bosses.
Interesting.
Bosses.
Oh, interesting.
And Courtney, like I said, you've got a beautiful little Libra moon and Pluto, and all of that's in your 4th house. So like you get beautiful homes. Like what makes homes beautiful, what makes them appealing. You probably even are good at making homes more appealing, like as a talent, because you really get like taste and aesthetics and like how that can be applied to homes. 2nd house of Leo is like you're a great showman. Like you're good at like, here's how this could be, and like selling people on like potential.
I'd say that's true.
That's so true.
Yeah. Like you're really like that. Like you're gonna be like, let me. And Dominique, you are the one I have questions on, but you also have a 2nd house of Cancer. Like, and I would say that you likely have, given where we are, a 2nd house Cancer. So you two are good at like the home sales. That's where you make money. And you have Jupiter in your 4th house, and reverse of you, which is Jupiter's in Leo. So like you could be like I'm gonna make your house fun. Like this is how we're gonna bring fun into this energy. This is how, and your home is really fun too.
Okay.
So
Yes.
There's fun in Nick's house for sure.
There's a lot of fun in Nick's house.
yeah.
The drops of Jupiter in my hair.
It's fun.
Oh my God. Well, that is all the time we have for today, but I understand that you wanted to potentially close with a ritual.
I did.
Can we do that?
I did. Okay. So we have people watching? No?
Not now.
Not now,
It's
later.
recorded.
Okay. So everybody 2 feet on the ground, please. I'm going to ask that you take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. And I just want to say, I come together in gratitude. May this time bring all of us abundance. May we have the insights, the joy, the love for ourselves and our money, and all the money and abundance that flows through us. May those watching find the peace, the joy, the love, and the money that they want. I love money. Money loves me. We love money.
Money loves us.
May this time be blessed with all the insights, love, ascended masters, angels, and woo together. And thank you and ACME for being here. Amen.
Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you. It's really been a pleasure. I feel like we could talk for like hours. You have such fascinating things to say. How can people find you?
Check me out at soulfulwealth.co and subscribe to my Substack.
Soulfulwealth.co, and you can subscribe to her Substack, whatever that is. And we'll see you next time on Under All Is the Land. Bye.
Do for yourself. Add a couple notches to your belt.